that was everything we saw in week 11 that was worth noting. Kind of a slow week, but as we mentioned before, we're well over the halfway point of the season now. And with that being said, we want to talk about some of the trends that we've seen kind of pop up this year and maybe started creeping into the season later last year. And these could range from anything. We each brought one to the table that we wanted to mention. And the first one that I'm going to talk about, which is my trend that is kind of slowly started creeping into the league just this year, is really when it's taken over. I feel like is the turtleneck, the sleeveless turtleneck look that a lot of these players are rocking nowadays. And one of the big guys who does it is number one right there for the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts. And it's just such a clean look. I don't know what it is. I don't really know where it came from, why it started, but if I look back on it, I do think Jalen Hurts was the first one that I can really remember doing this to the extent of where it's at now, at least. What do you guys think?
The first guy that comes to mind when I think of the turtlenecks is Tyreek Hill. I feel like he's been doing it for a minute.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. He could have got it from somebody else, but I feel like when it comes to mind, that's the first guy that I think of. I know there's actually companies out there now that are like producing a product that's a sleeveless turtleneck just because, so many guys are picking up on this trend.
They're jumping on it for sure.
It is really cool. I think this, I don't know if this is true, but I feel like this started as like those neck gaiters on the neck. Like we saw a lot of guys doing that. And I think it progressed into a turtleneck look. Does that make sense? Yeah.
The other thing too that a lot of players were doing, the like headband. They'd wear the headband around their neck, and then
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's either that or the turtleneck. But then like if you look back prior on it, you see guys like in the cold climate areas. Aaron Rodgers, when he was in Green Bay, always wearing that really thick white one. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce were wearing those ones. And those were really only when we got into November, December, January football. Now it's to the point where these players are wearing this from preseason all the way to the end of the season because it's a different material, different look, different style, and it's a new trend. So I think it's really popped off this year, and I don't know. I really like the way it looks.
Yeah. I wonder if there's any like true benefit to it other than how it looks. I wonder if there's a reason.
I was wondering the same thing. If it was just purely aesthetic or if there was something to it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Who's the dude on the Packers that wore a sleeveless hoodie?
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Greg the guy I'm thinking of.
Jones? Was his name Jones?
Oh, you're going way back. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was like 2017, 2018 area.
Packers wideouts. Was it?
He was in the 80s, right?
James Jones.
His number was
James Jones. James Jones, number 89. Yeah, he had a couple Hail Mary catches. That guy. I got it. Let's go.
Yeah, they shut that down real quick.
Yeah, when I saw you do the turtleneck thing, that's the first thing that came to mind. I was like, oh, I missed the hoodie look.
Yeah.
There's actually, when you brought up a Packer in a hoodie, the first thing that came to mind was his name is Keeson Nixon. And every pregame, he wears a yellow hoodie under his uniform, and then he takes it off for game time. So that's where I thought you were going with that. So the hoodie tradition is still alive in Green Bay, but not in games.
No. They try to get away with it in high school football, too, and the refs always get on them and tell them, no, take it off. A couple of my guys this year tried to do that for the team I was coaching.
I used to do it in practice when it was really cold, but it wasn't really that comfortable. So I don't get why you would even like want to wear it in a game, No,
I never jumped on that. But
I just didn't like how it felt.
As for the turtleneck look, the other guys that I thought of, Stephon Diggs, Justin Jefferson, those are two other notable, skill position players that wear it and make it look really good. So yeah, that was my trend. I think a lot of people will agree with that one, to be honest. It's something really, really simple, but it's getting there. It's making waves.
It's definitely starting to pop off. Like I said, there's companies that are like jumping on this wave and starting to sell the product as their own thing. So it's definitely making waves.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Tony, what's your trend? What do you got for us?
I got a kind of a double dip. So there's two things kind of happening in the face mask world, and the face mask world has been something I've loved forever. It's kind of my roots, so that's kind of where I went with this. The first one is obviously custom face masks. So custom face masks have kind of become more popular, and then also at the same time less popular this year because of, them being shut down. Max Crosby, obviously we've talked about that. We beat that horse to death. But there's kind of like a mix of custom and not custom. So there's still some guys wearing custom face masks in the league that are somehow getting away with it. Garrett Bowles on the Broncos is somehow still wearing a custom mask. Again, I'm not trying to rat him out. I just know that. What the hell is his name? He just got hurt this
Mekhi
week.
Becton.
Mekhi Becton. He was wearing a custom like Bane style. I don't know if he still is. Damar Hamlin, his is a simple but custom. And that leads into the second part, which is jagged eye guards. Jagged eye guards have gotten really popular this year. And with a lot of the guys have replaced these standard eye guards. So eye guards used to just be, straight bars. But a lot of dudes are still repping that look. But now they're kind of at this bent style, kind of like Von Miller used to have, except not as many. And it's becoming really popular on skill position guys. Once you see it, you can't unsee that it's kind of everywhere now. And you can kind of see it in like different amounts. Obviously, this is Damar Hamlin's. His is super simple. But one of the teams that has it a ton is the Chiefs. And I noticed this last night. So if you look here, we have here is Isaiah Pacheco. I can't quite tell. His look jagged from this side. Let's see. Can I zoom in any more on this? Is my zoom going to work today? Yeah, so his look kind of jagged. Like a little bit, but it's super hard to tell. Why did it go out? So let's see. Him, I know Kadarius Toney, his are jagged. Travis Kelce's are as well. Let's see.
Yep.
There is that Sky Moore. Sky Moore's jagged. It's just become a really popular style for guys to wear. Let's see if we can get a Travis Kelce one here so we can see. Let's see. We got Drew Tranquil. Nope. Travis Kelce. You can kind of see it there, although he's blurred. Let's see if we can get another one of him. There's got to be a couple photos of Travis. There we are. So yeah, exact same thing. It's literally just a standard mask with jagged eye bars. We've kind of asked people that we know about this that's making them, and they said some of them are custom, some of them they're being made in-house for these guys. So it's kind of like a mix depending on the face mask style that they're trying to build off of. So it's kind of a 50-50. Probably close enough where the NFL is not going to investigate into it because some of them are already made and some aren't. It'd be tougher to see. And then the other thing was I asked our people, I was like, are they doing this because it's more visibility? Like, what is it? And he was like, it's the mirror test. Like everything else, it's just a new style. It looks cooler. Yes, it gives you a little more visibility than standard eye guards because it goes out and in. But at the same time, they wouldn't switch unless it looked cooler. So that's kind of all it comes down to.
This seems like something that runs through the equipment staff and the equipment room in general. Like, because once one person wears it, do you think that equipment staff will start to recommend it to other players? Because like you said, the Chiefs, they seem like they're wearing a lot more than other teams are. So, say Travis Kelce was the first person to do it. He said he liked it. Sky Moore started wearing it too. And then the equipment staff, whenever they're coming in and talking about players' helmets and stuff like that, do you think, hey, try this out, see if you like it, and then they kind of keep it in-house, and then, it seems like a lot of trends happen that way. I feel like it's all kind of based on what the equipment staff at that given organization's doing at the time.
Yeah. And part of that too is like, people don't realize how much control the equipment managers have over kind of what goes on, especially considering most of the guys don't really care. You know what I mean? If it's close enough, it's close enough. A really good example is actually Drymax. So I don't know where my Drymax chin sabers are. Do I have them right here?
Check out that video if you haven't yet.
Where are my freaking Drymax? I have like 10 of them. Oh, I know. Okay.
Stand by.
Give us a studio tour while you're at it.
Yeah. So there's different companies that make chin strap covers, right? So here's Drymax. We've done our video on them. You guys know all about them. And then Sportstar makes their own cover. It's just a basic cover with the Sportstar logo on it. It's really nothing to it. Everything that equipment staffs do are based on budget and based on their preferences and how they do things. And they will really only differentiate from what they know and what they like if specifically asked by a player for most cases. So a good example is we know that Drymax is super popular on a lot of teams, but some teams don't want to spend money sometimes, honestly, on stuff because, this one is a lot cheaper because of it's just a sleeve versus the Drymax one is more expensive because of the Velcro now and the copper liner and stuff that goes into it. So these are obviously more than these. And not every team wants to spend that money. That's just the way it is. Every equipment staff is different. And if a guy's been their equipment staff for 20 years and he pre-exists Drymax or whatever, he might not want it. So like the Sports Star one and just the basic ones are popular on their Raiders. Their equipment staff's a little bit cheaper, and so they prefer to use just a standard one. Where other teams that spend more money in their equipment staff, they'll go with something like Drymax because it's really popular and it's really good product. And that's basically to say that, you know, it's up to the equipment managers sometimes to do these things. And unless a player explicitly asks, you know, I'm going on the Raiders and I'm going to be wearing a Drymax, and they order him one, when they're doing their bulk ordering of stuff, they might not do it. So who knows? Maybe it was a popular thing based on, you know, one person, and then the chief staff did a massive order with Schutt or whatever, or Riddell in the off season, and they got a bunch of these jagged masks made.
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense.
Yeah, no, I definitely think it's a combination of the equipment staff, like, you know, giving these guys these masks after a couple of guys bring them up. But I also think it's another case of like word of mouth. I mean, you guys have been at practice wearing like, you know, something cool, and you have a teammate like, yo, what is that? Where can I get it? And I feel like that happens in NFL locker rooms as well. So I'm sure there was somebody on the Chiefs. It might have been Travis Kelce. You know, he put this mask on, and then Isaiah Pacheco was like, yo, those bars are sick. Hook me up, let me get those. And then the equipment staff is like, all right, we'll make a big order. You know, I feel like it's probably a combination of both of those things, you know, coming together. Because that's what happens in football equipment locker rooms. You know, everyone's kind of seeing the gear that the other guys got and putting them onto it, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Meanwhile, Clyde Edwards-Helaire sitting over there in the corner like, you guys have eye bars? What? Where do I
He's
get
drawing
those?
eye guards on with a whiteout marker. That's what he does. You guys remember that? He still does.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
On his accent,
it's funny
he got these white paint lines.
because, you know,
That's
you
so
barely
funny.
see him run the ball anymore, but when you do, that's something I notice right away.
It's so funny. It's such a funny reason too. He's like, if there's a guy between my eye guards, I need to juke. If there's a guy outside the eye guards, I need to run faster. It's such a simple concept, but I love it.
Is that what he said?
What a beast.
Is that actually, did that come from him?
Yeah, that's I
Oh.
talked to the one of the Chiefs equipment managers, and that's what he told me the reasoning was.
I'd never heard
Isn't that
that.
insane? Isn't that so funny?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a
old
reticle.
CH.
It's like a reticle in a video game.
Literally.
Well,
it's so funny.
the one trend that the equipment staff does not have their hands in is the one that Devin picked, and this one's all on the players, right, Devin? What's your trend here?
Yes, sir. So this is a trend that I wouldn't say has come on this year. It's probably been a couple years in the making, but that's going to be reconstructed football cleats. So basically what that is when players take a base cleat and then they have an artist like Coda Customs on your screen, and they kind of redesign a shoe on top of the shoe. And the reason this is really cool is because it allows guys to wear the cleats that they love, and then they can put like a cool cleat on it. So like they don't sacrifice the performance, but they still get the swag that they want. I think that is so cool. And, you know, it allows these guys to, you know, have this uniqueness and just stand out and wear these really cool silhouettes. Some of my favorites, I just love seeing the old basketball silhouettes. You guys have heard me talk about it on the podcast a ton. There's so many cool basketball silhouettes, and it's like so tough to show them on the gridiron. So when you can take a good performance cleat and put a cool silhouette on top of it, it's just like this perfect harmonious thing. And it looks so cool. And it's, you know, by far, you know, as a cleat guy, it's by far my favorite trend. Here's some great examples. You've got Sean does it, Coda does it, then the Surgeon has done a couple pairs for OBJ. It's just so cool. You know, I love being able to see, you know, a pair of foams on the football field, you know, a pair of Jordans that didn't release as a football cleat on the gridiron. I think it's so cool. It allows so much creativity, and it allows us, you know, cleat nerds to see new stuff every single week. So I can't get enough of these custom reconstructed football cleats.
How much do you think a pair of those set you back? Like if you wanted to get your hands on a pair of completely redesigned, you know,
It's a lot
from
of
the
money.
ground up, I would imagine.
It's a lot. It's over $1,000 for sure.
Over 1,000? I was thinking like
Yeah.
500 at the minimum.
this is
500.
This is kind of public knowledge. I know Coda Customs was selling like slots for a custom pair of cleats, and I think they started at like 1,800. I could be wrong. Let me try and go to his website really quick, see if they're still up there.
We back in
It was
earlier in
expensive.
this year when I did the video
$1,150.
about the AI football cleats, And the original concept for the video was I wanted to make a pair of football cleats with AI, and then I wanted to partner with a shoe designer and have them actually made.
Right.
And I could not get a number that I could afford.
Yeah, it's
That's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, these
And so
artists,
it
they
just-
know their customer. They know, who's buying these cleats. And, they're
Yeah.
only going to get worn once or twice, but they know that these guys got deep pockets. I mean, all credit to the artist. I mean, these are really intricate designs, and they have to, be durable enough to withstand a game of football as well. So it's not easy to make these cleats. So I get why, they're charging these high prices, because again, they've got clientele with big bags, and it's very detailed work as well. So it makes sense.
Mhm.
Yeah. There's no chance
But,
what they do is easy by any means.
Yeah.
So like they
But
would
then
say
you could
time is
also-
money.
Yeah, you could also go the other route and like have an artist just paint like a cleat design on top of an existing cleat. Like the Vapor Speeds are great canvas, if you will, for like redesign it, like putting a Jordan 1 silhouette just painted on top of that cleat, because it gives you kind of the same look. It's just not a total reconstruction, cut and stitch as they call it. It's just paint, so it's a little cheaper to do it that way, I'm sure.
Yeah. I've
Yeah.
seen prices for that before. That's
Yeah,
around
it's not
like
too bad.
depending on who does it and depending on what design it is, I've seen them for as low as like 300, which
Yeah, 3
you
to
see
4,
a lot of
3
high
to 5.
schoolers. Yeah.
Yeah.
High
That's
schoolers
kind
go
of
that route.
what they have. Yeah, that's kind of the market, for those types of cleats. FP Cleat, he's teamed up with, I think it was Plead the Fifth Customs, and I remember they were doing some drops that were, $400, $500 for like simple off-white designs.
I could
But
swing something like
either
that.
way, man. Yeah, either way, I mean, I love football cleats. That's kind of what got me into all this. OBJ with his OBJ with his OG, Vapor Untouchables and those Giants colorways, and then his OBJ up tempos. Like that's the stuff that got me into this. So I love cleats through and through. And then of course I do have like a little bit of a history with like the sneaker culture and like basketball shoes. So seeing the two combined like weekly, it's just so awesome for me. I love that stuff. So that's my favorite trend for sure.